Hi all, welcome to another video where I have a sped up recording, and I'll voice record over it. In the bottom right you can see the reference. I know that is an often desired element in the videos. It's not always possible, but in this case it is. And I'm working on newspaper print with one of my favorite sketching tools. It's a pastel pencil. And as you saw, I have my coffee ready, and I'm just beginning the major gestural shape. In this case, that arch of the back is of course very significant and dominant in the figure. I also know that it's going to be placed rather to the left side, and I'm trying to now develop the rest of the limbs and body parts. I have to say it's a little bit of a compact pose, if you can call it that. So it's not a very, let's say, gestural pose with all the limbs extending far away from the body, like some ballet pose or whatever. And with these more compact poses, it's for me at least a little bit more difficult to establish the figure the way I want. I think the reason is that the central mass, the torso, is more obscured. In this case, for example, behind the feet and the arms. So I have to establish it with a bit more care and keep looking for the relationships and proportions. As usual, not always, but usual, I'm not hell-bent on capturing the exact proportions. I want to capture the idea, the essence of the pose, and what the figure is doing. And I don't want to spend all my time and effort on making it proportionally very meticulous and accurate. I think, by the way, I should do such an exercise not too far in the future. It's a good exercise. But this is, to me at least, a bit more fun. And I get to play around a bit with what I want to take from the pose and what I want to leave out or modify or alter. Now that the overall proportions and body parts have been established, it's time to indicate some ideas of the spaciousness and also the features. I start with the head, but I think maybe you'll still see it that I'll do the same for the limbs, for example. And one thing I like about this pastel pencil and this sketching on smooth newspaper print is that before long I can jump into the shading process. And with shading I can be fairly simple and crude and refine afterwards. So once most of this has been established, you see me grabbing my mirror there. Always a good idea to check the mirror view. But once most of this has been established in the major forms, I don't think I'll take too long before I start applying a little bit of value, tonal value to the whole. I think what I'm doing here is I'm sharpening the tip. Yeah, you can see it just in the left. I'm sharpening the tip a bit. Maybe I should have got this process out, but giving myself a bit more of a finer sharp tip to work with. I think especially for details in the face, etc. That's going to be helpful. So once I've done that, I don't know how long I'm now going to be away from the paper, but once I've done that, I think you'll see me using this tip to find some of the smaller shapes in the face. Trying to adjust the camera view here, zoom in a bit as it's a little bit smaller detail that I'm working on. I hope you can see it enough at least to kind of get the gist of what I'm doing. What I think is most crucial here to maybe try and realize if you want to do this yourself is that you think in simple shapes. Don't try to think I have to render or draw a nose or a cheek or eyes. Just try to look for the shapes of shadow and dark that you see in the reference and match those to fit the overall structure and body parts that you have in your drawing. So I'm looking for the edge of shadow, and the lighting situation, if you see in the reference, is a quite complicated one. There's probably there's a kind of a directional light from the top right, which is already a little bit of a diffuse light source. But there's also a lot of secondary light lighting up the left side of her back, for example. And maybe that's even a secondary light source if it's not bounce light or ambient light. What I'm doing is I'm ignoring that secondary light. I'm just working with the light coming from the top right and putting everything that's would be facing away from that light source in the shadow. Of course, the hair is completely dark, so even in the light side, I can just mask it in with a value. And the sharpened tip helps to kind of be able to apply smaller areas, but also lay the pencil flat on its side and very quickly fill larger areas of shadow. Now there's a lot here that is unrefined, oversimplified. So that to me always helps in speeding up the process, knowing where I can simplify matters and doing so. And then see whether I want to come in and refine some of the values and areas. But I'm trying to work from a very simple design, and I think you can really and ought to really call it that. We are basically designing the shadow shapes and the lighting situation. Even though we have reference, we need to make a lot of choices that help the clarity and also just the aesthetic value of the work. So I'm not trying to very literally copy everything of value that I see. I'm trying to break it down into simplified shapes that read well and that work together well. And once that is done, you'll see me coming in with a little bit of smudging, and then it's a matter of some erasing and some final touches, and the drawing will be done. I don't know how long it took in total. I think it took a little bit over 35 minutes or 30 minutes. Yeah, I think 35 minutes, something like that. So it's been sped up about twice, a little bit more than 2 times the speed, which I hope works well. You, of course, see a sped up version, but maybe not so heavily sped up that it's hard to follow what I'm doing. Here I'm punching in a little bit of the darker darks, close to the cast shadow of the arm, but also the core shadow around the torso and the hips and buttocks. Those areas are going to be darker, and that's still a simplified version of what is happening in the reference, but it helps to give a clear read of the round forms, the organic forms. And here I'm grabbing that pastel with my pinky, and I'm pulling it into some of the lights. And this creates a very efficient and suggestive transition of tonal value. So it's a pretty, let's say, liberal way of getting some halftones just before we meet the Terminator. And where it's too much, I can grab my eraser and pull out the lightest lights. I think the drawing is already almost at an end. I think in real life it was about 10 minutes to go from here, a little bit less. So at this point I could call the sketch finished. It's up to you, of course, when you decide that you've gotten what you want out of the sketch. This is not meant to be a final piece of gallery art or whatever. It's meant to be practice and just all around good time. So I'm obviously not rendering it completely to death. I'm focusing on mainly the torso. Here you'll see me indicating a little bit of the mass of the breast that was still visible, even though originally I didn't incorporate that. You see how easy it can be to kind of manipulate the shadow shapes and work in some light. As long as you don't apply very strong pressure, this pastel pencil can be quite forgiving. Final details, suggestion of the knuckles and fingers, and I think with that I'm almost done. As a final touch, I'll work on some lines and then darken some values, especially in the hair. There we go, a nice bold outline, and that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Thank you for watching. And while this runs out, I hope to see you next time. Cheers!